Welcome to Social Work Updates. In this video we are going to talk about the value base of social welfare. Values are assumptions, convictions, or beliefs about what is good and desirable or the way things ought to be. A person's values are shaped by his or her socialization experiences. Many values are dominant and supported by the majority of the population. For example, most people agree that life is sacred. Nearly everyone believes that killing another person with wanton disregard for that person's life is a criminal offense. Other values related to the sanctity of life, however, are not shared so readily. For example, our society differs on issues such as assisted suicide and capital punishment. The development of social welfare over time reflects differences in values as they relate to social responsibility for those in need. Values alone, however, do not determine social policy. Availability of resources, coupled with economic, religious, and political influences, results in ever-evolving policies of social responsibility for vulnerable members of a society. According to Marson and MacLeod, 1996, one dominant value that has guided the development of our social welfare system is humanitarianism, derived largely from Judeo-Christian philosophy and teachings. Our society also is influenced by the economic doctrine of laissez-faire, based on limited government involvement, individualism, and personal responsibility. From a laissez-faire perspective, number 1, problems of the poor and the disenfranchised are perceived as a matter of personal failure that government welfare programs would only perpetuate. Number 2, work is considered to be the only justifiable means of survival because it contributes to the productive effort of society. And number 3, social responsibility for vulnerable members of society would be carried out through volunteerism aimed at encouraging personal responsibility and self-sufficiency rather than formal government intervention. A different perspective maintains that we all are members of society and, by virtue of that membership, are entitled to share in its productive effort. Those who hold this belief argue that people become poor or needy as a result of changing social institutions such as economic globalization or the shift from a manufacturing economy to a service-based economy. Individuals are not the cause of these conditions but, rather, are swept along and victimized by them. For example, members of some ethnic groups face barriers such as inferior educational resources, limited, and usually menial, job opportunities, poor housing, and inadequate health resources. An analysis from this perspective would not blame these conditions on individual group members but, instead, identify factors such as institutional discrimination and oppression. According to Karger and Stoez, 2004, those who conceptualize social welfare have differing values perspectives. Some focus on whether one's view is liberal or conservative, or on a continuum somewhere in between. From a conservative perspective, individuals are responsible for taking care of themselves, with little or no government intervention. This perspective suggests that government should provide a safety net only for those with the greatest need. From the liberal perspective, government is responsible for ensuring the availability of social and economic structures, including equitable access to support for those who cannot meet their own needs. Another perspective contrasts residual and institutional social welfare. The residual perspective views social welfare as serving only those with the most problems or greatest need. This perspective often is associated with a values system that supports individualism and an expectation that people can, and should, take care of themselves and that those who are unable to care for themselves are deficient in some way. In contrast, An institutional perspective holds that everyone has needs throughout the life cycle, and society is responsible for supporting those needs by providing services and benefits. Thus, perspectives regarding societal responsibility for vulnerable members of society vary widely. And that's it, thanks for watching. For more social work updates, please watch and like the video, hit the bell and subscribe to my YouTube channel.